Hey everyone, so today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful stories of courage you'll ever hear. It's all about immense risk and personal responsibility, and it comes from the ancient book of Esther. It's a story that really all comes down to a single world-changing choice.
So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute heart of this whole thing. What would you be willing to risk to save everyone you love? I mean, really think about it. Your job? Your comfort? Your entire life? Because that is exactly the choice a young queen is about to face.
All right, so let's set the scene. Meet Queen Esther. She's living in the Persian palace, but she has a huge secret. She's Jewish. And her world is about to get completely turned upside down because a horrific decree has just been signed that calls for the annihilation of her entire people.
And let's be super clear about what's at stake here. This isn't just some vague threat. No, this is an official, state-sponsored, genocidal order. The king's top advisor, a man named Haman, has put a plan in motion to kill every single Jewish man, woman, and child in the entire empire. The danger could not possibly be more real.
But here's the massive problem for Esther. Even though she's the queen, she can't just stroll into the throne room and plead her case. See, Persian law was deadly serious. If you approached the king without being summoned, it was an automatic death sentence. The only, and I mean only, way you survive is if he decides to hold out his golden scepter. It's a life or death gamble, and there's no way for her to know which way it'll go.
Okay, so this is where Esther's cousin and guardian, Mordecai, enters the picture. He gets wind of this terrible decree, and he knows there's only one person on the planet who might be able to stop it. He's got to get a message to the queen, and fast.
And Mordecai doesn't just sit around worrying. He goes public. He puts on sackcloth and ashes, which was a huge public symbol of grief and crisis, and he sends word to Esther, begging her to use her position to save their people. He's basically making it impossible for her to ignore what's happening just outside the palace walls.
But Esther's first reaction? It's hesitation. And honestly, can you blame her? She sends a message back to Mordecai, reminding him about that brutal law. You go to the king uninvited, you die. Her fear is immediate, and it makes perfect sense.
And right here, this is the turning point of the entire story. Because Mordecai does not accept her answer. He sends back another message, but this time it's not really a plea. It's a powerful, destiny-defining challenge.
Now, Mordecai's response is absolutely brilliant. He starts by saying, look, if you decide to stay silent, don't for a second think that help won't come for our people. It will. It'll just have to come from somewhere else. He's showing this incredible faith that they will be saved, one way or another. And this is so crucial. Mordecai believes his people will be delivered, with or without her. But he's not saying that to let her off the hook. He's saying it to force her to decide what part she is going to play in it. It's this amazing moment where a divine plan slams right into a very human, very personal choice.
And then he drops the line that has echoed through history. He basically says, have you ever stopped to think that your whole life, being an orphan, being chosen as queen, all of it, wasn't just random? What if you have come to your royal position for this exact moment? For such a time as this?
Well, Mordecai's words land with incredible force. And this is where we see Esther's complete transformation. She goes from being this fearful person just trying to survive to a resolute leader who is willing to risk it all. Her response is just wow. And her answer isn't just some emotional outburst. No, she comes back with a strategic three-part resolution. First, she calls for all of her people in the capital city to join her in spiritual preparation by fasting. Second, she says she and her maids are all in, they're going to do it too. And third, only after that she resolves to act, no matter what it costs her.
Now, you got to understand, this call to fast was a huge deal. It wasn't just about skipping lunch. It was a profound act of humility. It was a way of publicly declaring that they were totally dependent on a higher power for mercy, because, humanly speaking, their situation was completely impossible.
So, after laying out her plan, she delivers her final, breathtaking conclusion. She says she will go to the king, breaking the law, and she fully accepts what might happen. She's completely surrendered the outcome, declaring, if I perish, I perish.
So, what can we pull from this incredible moment? Well, Esther's choice gives us this amazing lens for understanding how courage, a sense of divine purpose, and our own individual responsibility all work together.
You know, what's so interesting is that Esther's courage isn't a one-off. It actually fits into a larger pattern of faith. Think about Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were facing the fiery furnace. They said they knew God could save them, but then they added that crucial phrase, but if not.
Their obedience wasn't based on a guarantee that they would survive, and neither was Esther's.
And this really gets to the core of this whole story's powerful message. The idea that there's a bigger plan at work doesn't make our personal choices meaningless. Just the opposite. It's what gives our choices their ultimate power. Our courageous actions become the very tools that bring the plan to life.
Because in the end, deliverance did come for the Jewish people. And how did it come? It came directly through Esther. Her one single, incredibly courageous choice became the very instrument of their salvation. Her personal action had history-changing consequences for her entire nation. And that brings it all back around, leaving us with one final, very personal question to think about. Mordecai's challenge to Esther really does transcend time. It forces each of us to look at our own lives, our own situations, our own unique positions of influence, whether they're big or small, and to ask ourselves, what is my such a time as this?